I want to know who's on the other end of that thing.
Where's Fury?
Enough is enough! I have had it with these snakes on this plane!
Wet sock, cardboard, dry paint, baby powder, sand. What I've just described to you is the diverse range of emotions of Brie Larson throughout this movie. Watching this film was like giving King Kong a rim job. And if you're thinking, hey, is this just going to be one of those movie reviews that spends the entire time making fun of the movie instead of a middle-of-the-road respectful critique? Yeah, the Marvels sucked. That's my overall thoughts without giving away any spoilers just yet. There's no amount of alcohol that can make this movie good. It was extremely boring all throughout. The plot made absolutely no sense whenever I was paying attention, at least. The tone of the movie kept switching back and forth between trying to be lighthearted and then over trying to be serious. The acting of most of the characters, especially Brie Larson, aka the Queen of all Queefs, was even worse in this movie than in the first Captain Marvel. And the only redeeming quality throughout this entire thing was that it did eventually end.
Who else feels this product is stupid? Alan, Lisa, Josh, Yana, Katie. And did it piss off anyone else?
The entire film felt like it was created by a female transgendered kaiju who draws upon the power of soy milk and estrogen for their creative inspirations. Of course, over the past few years, I think that the monsters who created this began to realize exactly how crappy this would be received by audiences, and so the reshoots and edits are all over the place, making the entire film turn out like a retarded vegan salad that's been chopped up, eaten, and then vomited back out. Don't misunderstand me, the movie itself didn't feel or seem woke, but rather the reason this movie sucked is because it was just a bad movie. The writing, the characters, the plot, even some of the special effects. The fact that it felt like the end of a trilogy, even though this is supposed to be technically Captain Marvel 2. The choppy pacing, I mean, everything about this film just sucked a Tyrannosaurus-sized cock. I can't even think of a single meaningful arc that any of the three main leads went on. From the beginning of the movie until the very end, none of them really learn anything, and they're the exact same mentally and emotionally throughout the entire runtime, without ever growing at all. Not to mention, each one is about as charismatic as a wooden spoon. But don't worry guys, I've got good news. I'm going to go over everything that happens in this movie, so that you don't have to go see it. Yes, you're welcome. But those are my overall general non-spoiler thoughts, and now we're going to move into the spoiler section as I go over the film. Of course, before we do that, if you're a fan of my videos and you want to help support the channel, then please do consider hitting the like button and maybe subscribing. It's free, and all you have to do is make a YouTube account. It goes a long way in helping me build up this channel so that I can put out more amazing movie reviews just like this one right here. So, with all that out of the way, let's get into it.
You can't keep getting away with it! You can't keep getting away with it!
The movie starts off with the villain, whose name is Dar-Benn, and her soy cuck henchmen digging around a planet looking for treasure. I'm pretty sure she's a race and gender swap from the original character in the comics, and I'd also be willing to bet that she's gay. Way to lean into the South Park meme movie.
Put a ticket in and make her name it gay!
In the timeline of the MCU, she's basically a cheap female version of Ronan the Accuser, and we're going to lovingly refer to her as Dar Binks. Dar Binks finds the magical bracelet that has the power to open up bungholes in space. We then skip to our three main protagonists of the film. First up, we have Kamala Khan. She has the ability to create magical purple pancakes that float in the air, and that's literally the only way she uses her powers throughout the entire movie. Next, we have Monica, who has some kind of power that's based off of light, but nobody in the film, including herself, as well as all the people who created the movie, have any idea exactly what that means. All we know is that she can fade in and out of stuff, she can absorb other forms of light energy, so bringing a flashlight along in battle would probably be her greatest asset. And she got all of these wonderful powers by walking through a magical wall that a psychopathic witch erected around the town so that she could enslave everyone inside of that town in order to bring her life-size vibrator back to life. Which reminds me, in order to understand this deep-fried, regurgitated vomit called a superhero movie, you'd have to have actually watched the first Captain Marvel, as well as the TV shows Secret Invasion, Miss Marvel, and WandaVision, which is the equivalent of rubbing toothpaste in your eyeballs, so we'll refer to Monica as Diverse Lightbulb. And finally, in our trio of heroes, we have God, the incarnation of estrogen, the power of ovaries made real, and we're going to refer to this divine goddess as Wet Sock. Nick Fury calls Wet Sock and asks her to investigate the planet that Dar-Benn found the discounted jewelry on. She finds it and then travels to a world where hundreds if not thousands of the Skrull people are living in peace and having peace negotiations with the representative of the Kree, which just so happens to be Dar-Benn. Kamala Khan is chilling out in her room, and Diverse Flashlight is getting into trouble again with magical walls, except this time it's in space. Sometime either before or after the events I just mentioned, I don't remember, the three of them start switching places because both Wet Sock and Diverse Lightbulb see a glowy thingy and they touch it at the same time. Kree soldiers are fighting the three heroes in three different locations, and all three of our protagonists keep switching back and forth. This sequence of events concludes with the three of them being on this planet that was housing the Skrull refugees, and Dar-Benn opens up a bunghole in space, which sucks out all of the oxygen on the planet and kills hundreds if not thousands of innocent Skrull civilians. Don't worry though, because Wet Sock and the team are able to save a few dozen of them and fly away on their ship. Now, if the film still didn't have enough chicks who were lame and gay, Wet Sock calls in help from King Lesbian Person of Color Valkyrie to help deal with the Skrull refugees, and a third of the movie's over with. Yay! That was fun! And now we can move on to Act 2 without following up with any real repercussions about what just happened.
Put a ticket in and make her name it gay!
In order to forget about all of the hundreds, if not thousands of innocent Skrull lives who were just lost because of the direct actions of the trio of heroes, Wet Sock, Diverse Lightbulb, and Kamala Khan have a nice bonding moment on the ship. They sync up their menstruation cycles in order to be more effective in combat. We find out that not only is Wet Sock the Annihilator of the MCU in real life, but she's also the Annihilator of the Kree homeworld. You see, after she returned there and destroyed the evil AI overlord, it ended up destroying their sun and sucking out the water and oxygen in their entire world and probably killing millions of innocent Kree civilians. Well done, Wet Sock. You really are the true villain of the story. So, in order to save her people and try to rebuild the civilization that the famous Captain Marvel destroyed, Dar-Benn is using the discount magical bracelet that she found in the dirt to open up bungholes in the universe to draw out different sources of heat, oxygen, and water to rebuild her homeworld and undo all of the damage that Wet Sock created. And apparently she's been working toward this goal for the last 30 years. Kamala Khan somehow figures out that Dar-Benn is going to go after a large source of water, so that in a 1 in a million chance, pick the perfect world that she's going to end up going to. And so the trio of heroes set out on the course to this new world in order to stop Dar-Benn from doing to this world what she did to the previous one that the Skrulls were on.
Ha! 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 My God.
So, they make it to this new world, which is about 80% water or something close to that. And the gimmick of this world is that in order to communicate with everyone, you have to sing and formulate your words into a song instead of just speaking normally. We find out that Wet Sock ended up getting married to the ruler of this world, a guy who's about as masculine as a jar of tomato sauce. The marriage was only political and used to foster peace, which means that Wet Sock and King Diversity Lame Chick Gay Valkyrie can continue their secret scissoring love life on the side, which I'm sure all of the brain dead devoted fans of this garbage are hoping to see in the next Captain Marvel movie. That will never happen after they find out how much money they've lost on this one. This whole sequence was one of the cringiest and boringest parts of the movie for me. It felt kind of like a side quest in a game, and you know, don't really want to do it, but you do it anyway, and then you end up regretting going on that side quest and thinking, why did you even do it in the first place? Why didn't you go with your gut feeling and just not do it? Because you knew if you did go on it, it would be a complete waste of time and mostly boring. Yeah, that's what it felt like when they went on this planet. Dar-Benn shows up and tries to open up another bunghole in order to absorb all of the water on this planet and transport it back to the Kree homeworld, where there isn't any water, oxygen, or light. Can I just take a second and talk about Dar-Benn' plan here? I mean, I get this is a superhero movie with magic and powers and space travel and all that wonderful cool jazz that we love about superhero movies. But how retarded do you have to be in order to think that her plan is somehow good? That's my question. How retarded do you have to be? I mean, she's opening up a hole in space in order to transport an ocean to her planet. How is that not going to end up killing everyone there who's still alive? Also, if the main Kree homeworld lost its sun, lost its atmosphere and its water, how are they not all already dead? I mean, shouldn't they be dead without the ability to breathe? I mean, without the sun and any water, shouldn't they all just be dead and gone? It's been like 40 years. And if you teleport an ocean, isn't that just going to destroy their city? What about the oxygen? I mean, on our world here in reality, we have an ozone layer that is kind of this invisible force field that keeps the oxygen inside our environment so that we can breathe it and we're not exposed to the vacuum of space. So if their oxygen is gone, don't they have like a bigger problem with their ozone layer or something? If you just teleport a lot of oxygen to their home world, isn't it just going to get sucked out into the vacuum of space? What good is it going to do? It's just that this is kind of stupid. And also, why are they not all dead? Not to mention the fact that they're trying to teleport an entire sun, which we're going to get to in a second. Oh yes, that's the last element that she needs in order to revive the Kree home world, even though apparently there's still a lot of people still living there. Teleporting the Earth's sun. You know, the one that the Earth is revolving around in our solar system where the Avengers live. What is she gonna do? I mean, wouldn't that take like millions of years to successfully work anyway? Wouldn't it take at least half a dozen for it to effectively warm up the planet the way it needs to? And how come the entire Kree homeworld isn't this giant icicle without a sun? This movie made my brain hurt. Thinking that you can move around oceans and atmospheres and the heat of the sun like you're playing a game of Tetris across planets is ridiculous, even for the MCU standards. Why didn't they just kill off everyone on the Kree homeworld and then have Dar-Benn go on a mission of revenge against Wet Sock? Oh, that's right, because we have to make every single villain a sympathetic villain now. Well, anyways, Dar-Benn ends up succeeding in her plan. She opens up another bunghole, and it takes a good chunk of the ocean and teleports it to her world. As far as the world with all of the flamboyant, raging homosexuals who sing and dance through their language, I'm pretty sure a few more million people ended up dying. I don't know. In any case, the trio of heroes ends up teleporting to another world as they're trying to fight Dar-Benn, thanks to the help of Kamala Khan. For about 60 seconds, there seems to be some tension and arguing between the three divas, and they talk about their feelings. Of course, instead of capitalizing on this situation and using this opportunity to flesh out some clear, conflicting motivations between the three of them, the film decides to go another route, and after a few brief minutes of sharing their feelings, they all just have a group hug and affirm one another. Have I mentioned that not only is this movie not made for me, but it's not made for men or women? I'm pretty sure that the audience is split between both men and women who are going to go see this. The ones that do anyway, because almost nobody is really going to go see this. The reviews that have come out have been horrible, and it's not just a bunch of guys like myself dunking all over it because we're sexist pigs. Women have hated it too. I mean, it's one of the lowest grossing Marvel movies that have ever come out, and this was supposed to be a big deal. And from the time it was released up until now, it has barely done anything. It offers absolutely nothing for either party. This movie is made for stuck-up champagne socialists who spend their days sniffing up their own farts in their self-made echo chambers while dreaming of better days in a future utopia Marxist society. That's who this movie's made for. After affirming one another's feelings, they go back to the cuckold that is now Nick Fury in order to come up with a plan in order to stop Dar-Benn. And if you thought the movie was finished squeezing out cat droppings, then you were sorely mistaken, my friend, because we have another nonsensical series of events that does nothing to add to the story in any meaningful way, and it's just used as some cute little CGI screenshots that can be shown into the previews when it was actually advertising the movie. That is, whenever the previews weren't advertising Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. in order to key jangle people into going to go see this, because they know that nobody really wants to go see it in the first place. So back on the ship, the cat, who's secretly a hentai tentacle monster, which we learned in the first Captain Marvel movie, apparently gets knocked up, probably by Nick Fury. The cat ends up having a bunch of baby cats, which are also tentacle monsters. For some reason, they need to abandon the ship. I guess it's because of the cats, or maybe it was damaged. I don't know, I wasn't really paying a lot of attention at this part, but essentially they need to evacuate the headquarters. And so they use all of the cats to run around and eat all of the personnel. That way, whenever they escape, the cats can just vomit them right back up. And so Nick Fury, along with a bunch of the cats and a few other people, enter into the escape pod and then go to Earth. The same Earth and the same galaxy that the sun that Dar-Benn wants to take is in. So basically, they're all gonna die anyway. And once they get off the ship, all the cats start, as you might expect, vomiting up all the crew members, and they're all saved.
Hey, that really sucked!
No, I didn't think it was funny. It was about this time where I was praying that this movie was actually going to come to an end because of how boring it was. Why did we need to see this? Where's the action? Where's the interesting characters? Where's the gut-wrenching moments? Where's the hero moments? The moments where the hero bounces back, the moments where the hero overcomes, the moments where you really feel your heart, wrenching and really rooting for the main character. Where is all that at? Nowhere to be found. But hey, at least we have a bunch of cute, adorable little cats. Haha. Ah, yeah, it's so funny, because look, they have tentacles and they eat people. Yeah, isn't this so gay? It's immediately gotten old anyway, right?
Who's retarded now? Yeah!
They finally face off against Dar-Benn on her ship, and Wet Sock, Kamala Khan, and Diverse Lightbulb use their powers in sync in order to effectively beat her in battle. I mean, it's a pretty short fight, but overall, she doesn't stand a chance, especially seeing as how, Wet Sock has the powers of God. Kinda takes away any form of tension in a battle whenever you make a character that overpowered, In order to get the upper hand, Dar-Benn takes Kamala Khan hostage and ends up stealing her $5 discount bracelet that is the twin of her bracelet that was also purchased at a Dollar Tree before it was found on the magical moon planet by Dar-Benn. Now, I thought that at this moment it would maybe double her powers, since the previous fight was so underwhelming and she was so easily beaten. I thought that now that she had 2 discount $5 bracelets, it would make her stronger, and the heroes would have to get really creative in order to defeat her because she's leveled up now. Well, that's not quite what happens. You see, Dar-Benn takes the 2 cheap $5 bracelets that were originally bought at a Dollar Tree, and she claps them together in order to open up a giant bunghole, even wider in space than the other one, and she begins to absorb the sun and transport it to her galaxy where the Kree homeworld is. The thing is, though, is that the moment she does this and locks them together, she dies. I mean, she just disintegrates even faster than a box of donuts at a fat pride meeting. And that's it. She's just dead. That's the end of Dar-Benn. It has to be the most anticlimactic battle that I've ever seen in the entire MCU. I mean, it was just bad. I kept sitting there thinking to myself, hold on a second, surely she's going to come back, right? I mean, surely she's going to pop back up with the ultimate god-level powers, and they're going to have to really work hard together to defeat her, right? Nope, she's just dead. She just killed herself. So, in order to save the day, Diverse Lightbulb, who I'm beginning to notice around this time somehow has all the answers to the universe about everything and knows the solution to every problem throughout this entire film, and has basically been a walking, talking narrator of where to point the heroes in the next direction, which doesn't make much sense seeing as how just months ago she didn't even have superpowers and was just a regular SHIELD agent, but whatever. Diverse Lightbulb tells the trio that they can use her as a high-powered form of jumper cables, and if they give her their powers, she can go to the other side of the bunghole and seal it from there. Around this time, you might think that Wet Sock would ask something like, hey, if you seal that giant bunghole in space from the other side, wouldn't that mean that you'd be stuck? How are you gonna get back to this side? But she doesn't ask that, and so Diverse Lightbulb goes into outer space and works as the film's magical MacGuffin and begins to seal up the bunghole. Of course, she radios Wet Sock and says, oh, hey, by the way, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to make it back once I seal this thing up. Duh. And so, Wet Sock flies out after her in order to try to save her, but she doesn't end up making it in time. And as a result, I think that she tries to convey an emotion of distress or something like that, but it's kind of hard to tell when it comes to the many emotions of Wet Sock. Brie Larson won an Oscar, by the way. So the movie ends and the post-credit scene is Diverse Lightbulb waking up in another multiverse, and she runs into Black Captain Marvel. You know, the one from the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness movie. The single most hated character that pretty much unanimously is considered an absolute bitch. Yeah, that one. But not just her, but also the Fox's version of Beast from the X-Men. Yes, that's right. The movie they chose to introduce the universe of the X-Men that was originally put out by Fox, with all the films starring Hugh Jackman in those series. This is the movie they decided to officially introduce them in. Well done. Well done. Like I said, this movie sucked. Watching it was like eating a jar of mayonnaise by itself. I would rather have sex with a rattlesnake, to be honest with you, than sit through this again. No substance, no quality, just bland cookie-cutter Marvel being spewed out on a conveyor belt and then tagged on the end with some interesting key-jangling promise that normie fanboys who care nothing about the actual MCU itself will get all giggity and excited for the next new thing and immediately forget about the previous sludge that they just finished watching. If you like this movie, then hey, that's great. I like some bad movies too. But this movie is bad. There's no denying it. But I would love to know what your thoughts are. Are you going to go see it, or have you already seen it? What are your thoughts? And do you think that this is the final nail in the coffin to where the MCU slowly dies, or are they going to maybe make a comeback somehow? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you did enjoy the video, please consider hitting the like button and maybe even subscribing to the channel. And you can also hit that little bell icon and be notified whenever my videos drop. And of course, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a great freaking day.